Right, so continuing from the end of the last episode, we're at the point where we're about to draw the screen. So we've passed in this viewport, which is a 2D array of points, and we're going to use that to draw to the console. So the first command is to clear the console. So at the moment, if I bring the console up, there it is, it's clear anyway, but this obviously is part of a loop, so it will need to do that constantly. So we'll clear the console. We have a new variable called lines. This keeps track of the number of lines that we're drawing to the console. We're setting up these variables to make it slightly easier to visualize that we're looking at the cells to our left, to our center and to our right from the position we're standing at on the map. And then we're also going to do the same with the cell that's on the left, the cell that's ahead and the cell right. So we're just declaring them at this point. They're not being given the cells aren't being given any values. So we're now going to create a list of text strings, and so the default list is going to have starts off with this one, outside map border and so on, and then we've got a text of stuff that's on the left, stuff ahead and stuff to the right. So this will be filled, these lists, string lists, with all the text of what is found on the cell ahead, cell to the left, cell to the right. Now the next thing to check is whether the point left and point center and point right are greater than 0, to make sure that we can actually get some text out of them. If they're not greater than 0, if the point to the left is outside the map, then obviously we're not returning anything. So let's go into this one. So we're now assigning it the value, and we're doing the so the cell on our left is given the coordinates of the left and right side there. So we've now assigned the cell that it's in, and we're going to check out and get from that cell the get wall data. So this is the cell on the left of us. We're going to get the data on the walls on the left hand side. So if I relate to the dungeon map again, so we started off at 2,2, which is here. We now want to find out, we're facing down this way, we want to see what's on our left, in other words this cell here. So it's going to check out what's in that cell there. So we press F11 and we're going into the cell, so we're on the left side, and here we are, we're going to get the wall data. So again, we're going to create a new empty list here, which for the time being is just being given the value of the X and Y coordinates of the cell. There we go, 3, 2, surrounded by square brackets. Now if the side walls are empty, then we're going to put the word empty cell in. It obviously isn't empty because the walls contain wall, wall, wall and wall. Now we're going to add what's on the side of the wall. So this is going into our list. Now it's going to check if the wall decorations to the side are not equal empty. So let's have a quick look at wall decorations, see what they've got in them. They're empty, so we shouldn't have anything in there. Doing the same with the alcove items. Same with the wall writing. Is there any writing to the side? Any champions? We know these are all 0 because it's a solid empty cell, so I'll just flick through them fairly quickly. Now the next thing we're checking is how many lines of data have we got. We've only got 2. So what we want is to always have 6 lines of data in our list. So we're going to fill now, because we've got less than 6, we want to fill 4 completely empty ones. So we're going to add 4 more empty strings into our list here. There we go. And now the data that we're about to return consists of 6 lists of string, of which the top 2 have got something usable in, and the next 4 are empty. And you'll see why we're doing that in just a second. So we've got all the information for the text that we're going to display from the cell on our left. Next, we're going to do the same for the center, the cell that's in front of us. We're going to look at that. So we assign the cell, and then if the cell is above 0, 0, then we can get the text out of it. So we'll check that. Now we're using, got the facing again, get wall data yet again. So we're going through exactly the same process as we did before. So let me shift F11 out of this, we don't need to go through it again. And then we've got the wall data for the text ahead. Again, we've got 6 lines, and it just says outside map border and a series of empty strings. So because that was given the default value of outside map border, nothing was found in it, so it still says outside map border. Now we're going to do the same on the right side. So I won't step through that because it does exactly the same as it did on the left side. Excuse me. And now finally, if I go down to this point, we're going to check out what's actually inside the cell we're standing on. So this uses this shared current cell coordinates X and Y. Let's just press the F11 on that one. So we're now using not get wall data, which is down here. That's what we were using before, get wall data. We're now using get data. This is all in the cell class. So we're just getting the data for that individual cell. So it's similar to the wall data, except that we're looking for the types of walls that are surrounding us, whether there's something on the floor that we can stand on, whether there's a pit, whether there's puddles, whether there's a door. Now there is actually a door, if I remember right, in this one. So let's skip down to this one so that we can check that out. We'll unpressure that. So if the door object key, there we are, it's 0-2-2. So we are on a door. So we now, because we are on a door, there's the key, is that we're going to find that door. So the shared doors dictionary contains 3 doors, which is 069, 022 and 0214, each of them being a different door as represented on the map. There's one, there's one, and there's one. So the 3 doors are now objects in the dictionary of objects here. You can see how complicated this is getting. So we're now going to assign this temporary variable door to the shared doors with that object key. So now we can see what the door has got to offer itself. Let's just see if we can find the door properties. There we go. So we've got cell location, control location, door type, black, frame button, there's its key, door 01, open state 1. So all the data about the door is now here with us. And then we can add to our data file, which is the list of strings, all the door types, whether it's open, breakable and so on. So we add all that. It's going through each bit, and then we can do the same with the door control, location, etc, etc. So we're adding all this stuff to the list. I'll go to the bottom here. Again, once it's got to the bottom here, it checks to see how many things are in this one is not concerned with the length of the data, so we're not too bothered about that, but I have made it 10 instead of 6. So we wanted to increase the width, the height of it, sorry, from 6 to 10. That's because this is the larger panel which is looking at. So let's go back down to here. We'll F5 down to that. So this is the data that we're returning. So we've got a list of 10, of which we've got data in the first 3 and nothing in the rest. So you'll now see why we're doing it that way. Let's untick that. So we're now going to start drawing out the console. So these strings are being set up here to give the text for creating the different parts of the display. So if I go down to F11, so I've called this one rectangle top or rect top, and it's using these pad writes and the UTF-8 characters you see there. It's producing a string, which you can see down here. If I click on it, you can see we've got this kind of long bar with a corner piece, a divider, and a corner piece. So that's the top rectangle view. Oh, there you go. Look, it doesn't quite fit in so nicely because maybe if I untick wrap, yeah, there you go. So this one is now sliding. That shows you what we've got there. Now I'm not actually using the rect divide at the moment, but that allowed us to, if you wanted to change the way the grid is laid out, but I'm not using it, so I won't bother to go through it. Similar process of all of them. Let me go right down to this point. There we go. So we've now got something similar for the bottom and this one in the middle, which divides it all up. So you can see we've done some pre-construction of the strings that we want to display. So again, we have a new string list here, and then we're going to add to it some data. So the first one is that we're going to add the words cell to the left, pad that out, and so on. So let me just go through these and add that. So let's look at our list again. Okay, so as you can see, we've got let's look at it in the view. There we go. I'll untick the wrap here. So our first line, cell to the left, cell ahead, cell to the right. And then if we go to this one, there we go, untick the wrap, and this one is 3-2 wall, 2-3 empty cell, 1-2 wall. So you can see how we're gradually building up this list of strings. Now we're going to go through the rest of the list here to see what to draw. So let's I won't step through the whole lot. Let me go through this one. So we're just again constructing some lines of text and adding them to the list. So our list is now 6 lines, and you can roughly see them, what they look like there, with some empty ones at the bottom there. Now we're actually going to start drawing them to the console. So let's right line rect top by pressing F11, and we can now see the console itself has got this top line drawn out. Then we're going to go through the rest of the lines in the list and write those out. So if I go to that point and show you what's on the console now, there we go. So we've got the writing so far. We're now going to draw the line across the bottom here. So we're going to write the bottom line. So we'll do that. Just quickly show you that. There it is. And then the next one is that we're going to write the text that we got from the current text, which was this one up here, which was the, if I just find it, current text, there we go. So we've got 10 lines here of information that we got from the current cell. That's where we're standing on. That shows you what's in there, which is a much bigger array. So we're going to write all that to the console, bordering it with these UTF-8 characters, and then we're going to put the solid bottom at the bottom of that. So let's go to here, we'll display all that lot, untick that, and show you what's on the console. So we've now got to this point. So we've now got the display of the dungeon output. Now obviously when we're doing this in Monogame, we would actually have Monogame drawing the dungeon, all the objects, drawing all the images and so on. So a hell of a lot more complex, but at least you can get the idea of how can we translate data from a map file into something we can observe. The next one here is just increasing the number of lines by a couple to create a space, and then we're now adding the instructions, which is the bit that comes out to tell us what to press. Now the instructions is quite complex. Let's go through it. So what this is doing is it's splitting up the instructions into pieces and then using the console write and changing the foreground and dark background colours, or is it just foreground? No, it's just foreground. So it's changing the foreground colours as it goes down. So if I just do the first two, let's do that one. We should have a bit on the display here. Yeah, we've got number equals 8. Let's go through again. So we're going to change the colour to dark magenta and write the word forward. There we go, forward, and so on. So let's go through a couple more. So we're gradually building this up. So you get the point. So this routine just writes the text to the console. Let's go right down to the end and then come out of it. So we've done the instructions, and then we're returning the lines back. Let's return the lines. So we're back where we started from. So let's go back here, and we're ready to start moving. So we've just entered the while loop. So this is the first time it's run. We've drawn our screen, which looks like that. Everything's there. It's waiting for you, the player, to press one of the appropriate arrows and then move on. So we're now going to do the player move by calling it here. So let's do the player move. By using the keyboard. Here it goes. So we're creating a new point, and then we're using the key pressed, console key info, to find out which key is pressed. So let me just F11 there. At the moment, of course, it's waiting for me to press a key for the text to carry on. So I will put in an up arrow. Let's make sure I've highlighted this. Oops, wrong way. Get it in there, and then we'll go up arrow. So it's checking, is the key pressed? Key is up arrow. If it was the escape key, quit would be true, and we'll quit. So I didn't press escape, I pressed the up arrow. Else, if the key pressed key equals up arrow, left arrow, down arrow, right arrow, then the direction, which we know is one of those, let's press that, is we're now going to check out which direction did we choose to move from. So the key pressed key is the up arrow, and the player facing is south. So we're going to call now the moves. The moves is a dictionary. So we're going to call the one that corresponds with the up arrow, which is the first one in the dictionary. So, and of course it also uses the the facing one. So let me just expand on that one a little bit. I don't know if we can get the view. Yes, we can. That's helpful. Right. So this is the moves dictionary. So we've got the up arrow key will then return the secondary dictionary, which has got string drawing point. So this will open up a secondary dictionary. So this is a dictionary of dictionaries that we've got here. Let me just show you how this was constructed. No, I can't show you that here. Okay, so we've got this dictionary of dictionaries. So if we press F11, we've got the player facing, and we should get out of it a point. So that shows us where, when we press the up arrow, we're going to increase the X direction by 0 and the Y direction by 1. This is worked out from the dictionary. So we've given in the direction of the arrow we've pressed, which is the up arrow. Now, because we are on this map, we're facing south, we're standing here, and we've pressed the up arrow, meaning we want to go forwards. We're obviously going to change our Y direction by 1, because Y is 0 at the top, down to 19 at the bottom, and our X direction by 0. So that's quite correct. We've now got the actual move that we want to make. And because we chose a legitimate one, and it does lead to a cell, the message is an empty string. We would only have got a message if the key pressed was going to go out of range of the cells. So we're now going to move in the direction. So let's call this and find out where we're going to go. It's going to check whether the direction X, which is, in this case, we're going to move X 0 and Y 1 because we pressed the forward arrow. So if they're both 0, then we don't need to do anything because we haven't moved. So that would have returned without doing anything. Instead, we're now going to find the compare point, if you like. So what we're going to do there is to get the shared current coordinates of X, which is 2, and the current coordinates of Y, which is 2, and then add to it the direction that we're about to move. So X is 0 and Y is 1. So we're going to move a square in the Y direction and none in the X direction. So we can now check what compare has got in it, and it's 2, 3. So that's instead of 2, 2, it's 2, 3. Now we're now checking whether this new value that we've calculated is less than 0 or greater than the map width, or less than Y, less than Y is less than 0, or Y is greater than the shared map width. If it's any of those, you're obviously at the edge of the map, and so that stops us from doing anything. We didn't check out there. So now we're actually going to change the current cell coordinates X, which is 2, 2, to compare X and compare Y. And that has moved us. So we're now, the current shared coordinates are 2, 3. So you can see how this routine works quite well. We didn't press the delete or page down key, so we're not trying to turn. But this would have allowed us to turn in one direction or another, and all we would have done then, instead of trying to move, would be just to change the player facing direction. So let's move on. So we've read the keyboard. If the message is empty, which it was, then we change viewport and we redo the cycle yet again. So that shows you how the whole thing works, and we just keep returning round and round in this constant loop. So let me untick all the stop points. There we go. So let's get that in the center. So we just moved ahead to 2, 4, and again, just to show you, we'll move ahead again, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7, and we're up by the the writing as I did at the beginning of the first video. So I think that will do nicely for the code to cover all of the this kind of test console to see how it would operate. We're now ready to move on to start using the same technique in monogame. But before we do that, we've got to really get all this data sorted out and put into a database. So I think that's going to be the next thing we'll look at, is how to create an SQL-like database to convert all this data.